Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be explaining how to install your hydro handbrake of any sort. This one is, it's got the Willwood reservoir, so it's pretty nice, and then I got this off eBay. Well, not really off eBay, it was like some website. But you can basically find all these, like, any different website, just look it up. That's Ryan Turk's signature, so you're not going to have that. But basically, this reservoir came with that little adapter, and then I had to get this brake line fitting. So this one's already flared and everything. So basically what you're going to want to do is get your hydro all set up wherever you want it. I personally welded a little bracket right here and then just painted over it, and it sits on there very, very nicely, and it's bolted in so it's easy to take out. Sit in your seat and figure out where you want to put it, and make sure that your shifter is not going to hit it or anything in any gear, neutral or anything. So that's what you got to make sure. So get that all situated. Then you're going to want lots of brake line, 3/16 brake line. So just make sure you get that. And then this fitting right here for the back portion of the hydro brake is very, very hard to find. It's a 7/16 by 20 brake line fitting. So you're most likely going to have to order this online. I could not find them anywhere for the longest time, then I finally found it somewhere. So I'll put the link in the description as to where I got this so you can get some. But all I know is that this is very, very hard to find. And then basically you're going to want to have your flare kit. And then you're also going to want to have a brake line cutter. So these are very cheap, you can just get them at any auto parts store. What you're going to want to do is just put it in the end of the inside of the brake line, and as you can see there's this little groove right here that the brake line can go into, and then you're just going to close it, not too tight, and then just keep rotating and tightening as you go, as it gets easier, and then it'll eventually come off. Make sure you drill a hole wherever you want in your car to put the brake lines through, and then paint wherever there's bare metal so you don't rust, like doesn't rust. So do that. Then you're gonna want to, as you can see my drive shaft is in the way, figure out which brake lines go to the back brakes. In this situation you can see that this brake right here goes to my back brakes. So once you figure out which brake line goes to the brake booster and the back brakes, you're going to want to figure out on your slave cylinder which one pushes and which one sucks in. So on this particular one, when you pull this, air comes out of here. So this is going to go, or I'm sorry, air sucks in right here. So this is going to go to the front of the brake line where I cut. And then this one's going to go to the back, because this is pushing the fluid to the back brakes, and then this is sucking in the fluid from the brake booster. So right here you have a better view. This is the brake line that's going to the back brakes, and it's coming through this hole that I drilled and I painted. I still got to retouch that up. And then I'm going to put some rubber O-ring around this so it doesn't cut the brake line. But then, as you can see, I flared the brake lines and then attached them, and you can zip tie it anywhere you want so it's not hanging down or anything. So I just used a union and attached both brake lines to each other, and then this is going to the back brakes. And then my other brake line is going to come down, and it's going to hook up to this one with a union, and it's going to go to my brake booster. I'm going to show you guys how to flare, because that could be a different video. You can comment down below if you want me to make a video on that. But that's how your flare should look. You know, pretty clean. Nice little bubble. I typically cut extra brake line and then cut it to however I need it to fit underneath. But you're also going to need this brake bender to get a nice angle right here. Alright guys, so here's the final product. Here's both the brake lines. I bent them as much as I could. You know, you don't want to kink it. So I bent them as best I could, and then I bled the brakes, and as you can see, it doesn't leak or anything. I can feel the tension when I click the brake. it locks this up, so that obviously simulates me pushing the back brakes as well with this foot brake. But this is just for the back brake, so you pull this and you can feel the tension. And it doesn't leak out of any of these. You want to make sure it doesn't leak out of any of your brake line fittings on the top and bottom, because then it'll leak air into the system and that's not good. And then I didn't really explain any of this to you guys, so this is just my little like switchboard. I know it looks kind of sketchy, but it's actual carbon fiber, so it's really lightweight, and I just had it to hold this to tell my MPGs and everything, and then this switch for my fans, and I might have a switch for my fuel pump because my fuel pump is giving me issues. Oh, and then I also have this door panel. I know at the last drift event my leg kept hitting like the side of metal and it kept cutting my leg and it really was getting annoying, so I just kind of made this for right now because it's just whatever. It's just like a little budget build door panel, and it's just self-tapped, screwed in, and then yeah, I just kind of made this to close it and you just open it. So I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess. I know it looks kind of stupid, but it works, so that's all that matters. So here's what's going on with the car right now. So I have the turbo and everything mounted. The front end is still not on right now, but as you can see, the turbo is mounted, and then I have this is the oil drain. It was just a regular hose, and then I wrapped it with some heat resistant, it's like some fiberglass heat stuff, and then I have that wrapped as well for heat. I still gotta wrap more. I have this wrap for heat. I have this right here just because my wiring harness, don't want it to get burned. Right here, paint, I don't want the paint to get burned or anything. And then I also have it all right here for the spark plugs and everything. As you can see, my front end is off right now. Startup will be soon, so stay tuned for that. And right now the only issue is I'm not getting fuel, and I really do think it is the fuel pump relay, because when it's in here and then I looked at it and it was really burned up. So I'm gonna replace that. Hopefully then I'll get fuel. If not, I will still replace that because it's burned, and I'm gonna wire it to a switch. So then basically it's just gonna hardwire it basically, and I will be able to just flip the switch. It'll be on my switchboard, and then it'll just send fuel up to here, so then I can actually start it up. So that'll be very, very soon, because I'm also going to be going to the drift event, which is October 22nd, so stay tuned for that as well. There's going to be a insane video on that. Oil, I made sure I got oil and everything. The car's already filled with oil. The oil pan is not leaking whatsoever, so that's good. But yeah, it looks kind of like a clusterfuck right now, but like basically everything's plugged in except for the fuel injectors and my intake manifold. So yeah, I just got to figure out the fuel issue, and then it'll be good, and I'll start it up. So there'll be a video on that, but the hydro is hooked up, the brakes are bled, everything works good, so that's a job done. So that's how to fully install a hydro handbrake. Anyone can do it. It's really easy. It'll take everything total. After I got the mount and everything, figured out everything, it'll take probably about an hour, depending on how good you are at flaring. Flaring is kind of a bitch if you don't know what you're doing, because you got to make sure everything doesn't leak. But yeah, it should take about an hour. I mean, if you're welding a plate, it'll take a little bit longer, but overall, kind of pretty easy job. I mean, obviously, if you know how to flare, it'll be pretty easy, but if you don't, I mean, it's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. But you'll get it. I did. It took me kind of a while to learn how to flare, but now I got it, and it works great. So that's all that matters, really. I mean, whatever works. So yeah, stay tuned, guys, for all the other videos, and subscribe for more. Alright, so trying to convince Logan to go to Mexico really quick. He's thinking about it really hard. Probably gonna go to Mexico. So yeah, the good thing about where we live is Mexico is really close. It's like about a 2-minute drive. We're like next to the border, so. Alright, now we're going to Mexico right now. Actually, pulling into Mexico. Alright, look, you have to like.
Is there no one in here?
No.
You sure?
Yes. You have to hold down the traction control button. Hold it down. Go over there too, there's more room. Hold it down. Yes, there we go.
You like sure there's no one back there?
Yes. Now give it a nice little hit and then we can get out.
There you go. There's your little hit.
Oh, come on.
There's your little hit. That's what you wanted.